Hello and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm going to review this 2022 Honda Yaris, which is equipped with the 1.5 liters TNGA engine, which is the hybrid one. Of course, I'm going to review the exterior. When you open and close the door, you will hear a really bad sound coming from it. The interior, finally, a good steering wheel made by Toyota, and you're gonna see how it rides. Then it automatically switches to the petrol one after you go higher than 100 kilometers per hour. Once again, I'm Alessio and you're watching the Elliott Club. So the first thing that is worth mentioning is, just compared to the old gen, look how aggressive this car is. Among all of the competitors, this car in terms of design is one of the best in the small compact segment. I do really love how the nose is extremely long in this part and integrates the Toyota logo, and now integrates all of the radars and sensors for safety features. The only problem for me here is that I don't know why Toyota decided to go this way, but this fake carbon fiber effect is totally no sense for me. It would be so much better if it was just plastic, like a black plastic, or a metallic one would be like way better. And unfortunately I don't have the model with the full LED headlights, but I just have the regular ones, which are still good, but I think that every car should have a standard LED headlights for safety reasons. Speaking about well-designed cars, look at the side. I do really love all of the crises here and there that actually make this car a masterpiece. The only problem though is that in my specific model here, I just have the 15 inches alloy wheel. Actually, if I have to be honest, this car as standards is with 15 inches but with steel wheel. If you want the alloy wheel, you have to pay 500 euros more. Moving to the rear of the car, we do find these beautiful LED tail lights, which are followed by this little bar. Here is totally blacked out, which is way better in my opinion. And then you find the hybrid logo. The only part I'm not so convinced about is just here on the bumper area. We do find this kind of fake refuser rear thingy here that in my opinion is not really well designed. Another thing that is worth mentioning is the shark antenna here, which is actually not very common for this kind of class of car. Now let's talk about the boot, and actually this is one of the bad sides of this little Yaris. Compared to the competitors, it actually has one of the smallest boots in the market, since it only has 286 liters. For example, a Volkswagen Polo or a Ford Fiesta has over 300 liters. But actually, you won't have any issues about carrying any suitcase or other things, because for the way it's shaped, it's really easy to use. But actually, as you can see, if you need extra room, you can fold down all of the seats like this, and you have all of the room that you need. Now, speaking about build quality, actually I have to say one or two things about this little Yaris. Nowadays, European cars especially are really well built, and the quality that you feel is really high. I'm talking about a Volkswagen Polo or even a Ford Fiesta, a Seat Ibiza. Here, the thing is quite different. When you open and close the door, you will hear a really bad sound coming from it, and when you knock on the car or just touch it in every part of it, you will feel and hear a really bad sound and really bad metallic quality. But maybe Toyota decided to go this way for reducing the weight of the car, because indeed this car without any liquids just weighed over 1000 kilos. So now let's talk about the interior quality, and actually it's not that bad. I mean, you have to understand that you are in the small compact segment, and of course you can't expect the great materials that you find in bigger cars. Indeed, the door panel is completely made out of crunchy plastic. The design overall, I would say that it's quite good, but the only thing that I don't like here is how they shape the door handle. I don't know, it's kind of weird and really hard to find it and to reach it in my opinion. And of course at the bottom of the door panel you can find some storage for your snacks or bottled water, basically whatever you need. Moving to the interior, actually I have to say that it finally happened. Finally, a good steering wheel made by Toyota. It's incredible after, I don't know, 20 years Toyota decided to shape and create a good steering wheel. If you think about it, even the Toyota Supra, which is one of the supercar that Toyota has made, because I know it's in collaboration with the BMW and it's basically a Z4 and blah blah blah, but actually the shape of the Supra is amazing, the exterior is great, the interior is great. The only problem is the steering wheel. Here we have, in my opinion, a better steering wheel than the Toyota Supra, which is crazy. Apart from the steering wheel, they actually improved way more the interior of this car. If you think about the old generation of Yaris, it was incredible, like in a bad way, because you didn't understand what was going on. All of the storage and all of the shapes were kind of pointless and nonsense. But here things are way different. You have plenty of storage here and here, everything is well organized. As you can see here, you have 2 cup holders, an armrest, which is not really capable, I have to admit, but still it's here. Here of course you can find your dials. Actually in Toyota they still didn't create any kind of virtual cockpit display like an Audi, or some totally virtual dials here, but we have just the regular ones. Or actually, if you go for a higher class of these Yaris, you can find a kind of digital dials which are shaped a little bit differently from this. But actually, to be honest, there is a really good screen here with a high quality resolution, so it's not that big issue. And overall, this car is not totally made out of plastic, because Toyota decided to go for squishy materials, as you can see here. And then you have some crunchy materials here and there. And actually, the cabin wobbles a little bit, so it's not super solid. But still, I have to say that it's really a well-built car. Now, talking about the infotainment system. Well, as you know, Toyota is Japanese. So we all know that Japanese manufacturers are not that great for building such a great infotainment systems or in-built navigation system, but actually it's not of a big deal here, because this Yaris comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, so you can use your phone to do basically everything from navigation to listening to music. And it's a plus that you have still some physical touch buttons here and there, when those are disappearing more and more during the years. Then of course we have the AC, which is standard as automatic, which is a great thing. And then we have just a USB port here to connect your device to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and a 12-volt socket here. I don't know if you can see it. Then, being an hybrid, of course we do find a CVT transmissions. Of course it's not a dual clutch, so it's not that great, but still quite fun. And then of course you can find some extra room to storage your stuff, and actually, to be honest, the glove box is fine as well. Then moving to the back seat, I have to say that the seats are pretty comfortable. I have plenty of room for myself. I'm 5.6 feet tall, and I have plenty of room for my head and also for my knee. Of course, then, being in this kind of segment, we do not find any USB port here or air vents, which is kind of standard for this kind of class. So now let's see how this little Yaris ride. Since it's a Yaris, like the old generation car, it allows you to go up to 100 kilometers per hour in full electric mode by pressing the EV button. Then it automatically switches to the petrol one after you go higher than 100 kilometers per hour. Another thing that is worth mentioning is that this little Yaris comes as standard with the adaptive cruise control and the lane keeping assist. And actually, the adaptive cruise control is not even standard in much bigger cars that cost way more. Speaking about fuel consumption, from what I got, I had an average of 5.5 liters every 100 kilometers. So I think it's not that bad. One of the few aspects that I didn't like about this little Yaris is about the brakes. I don't think they are quite on point as the competitors, and actually sometimes they are too aggressive without the need. Another cool feature that this little Yaris has is that it shows you in the monitor in front of you all of the speed limits that you're facing while driving. Thanks to the low weight of the car, it actually can go from 0 to 100 in less than 10 seconds. Overall, this little Yaris is improved so much compared to the last model. The chassis is brand new and it's stiffer by 37% from the old Yaris. Speaking about comfort in a long ride, the suspensions are quite comfortable and on point. When you turn around at high speed, actually you don't feel any kind of sensation of wobbling around like in other cars from this segment. This little Yaris is actually very firm and engaging, and I can't believe I'm saying that in a Toyota, but it's actually quite fun to drive. The model that I'm driving right now is the hybrid 1.5 liters with 116 horsepower that are combined by the petrol and the electric engine. When you ask for power, it's almost instant delivered, and basically if you want to do an overtake, you won't have many issues. Of course, being in a Toyota means that we do find here a CVT transmission and not a dual clutch transmission, which is basically the one equipped by most of the European competitors. But still, it's quite fun. So what's my final conclusion about this 2022 Toyota Yaris? Well, in my opinion, if you want a hybrid car which is also small and great looking, and that comes with all the basic needs that you need in a car as standard, I think you should go to the first dealer and buy it. But if you want something a little bit posher with maybe better materials overall, maybe you should option something else. For example, a Volkswagen Polo. And what about you? What do you think about this little Yaris? Would you buy it or would you go for something else? Let me know in the comment if you want it, and if you enjoyed this video, please put a like and subscribe to my channel. I'm of course Alessio and you're watching the Elliott Club.